I'm attorney Courtney Anderson Broadhead in Austin, Texas, and this is an educational overview. Our topic, why is it so hard to talk to a lawyer? Something that seems like it should be simple. There's a lawyer. I'm someone that has a question about law. Should be easy. Sometimes people in the public perceive that when they try to reach out to talk to a lawyer to find out, do I have a legal issue, or is this a case? Is there even a law? I don't know. That lawyers will respond, I'm here and I can give you general information, but I'm not your lawyer and I can't give you specific information on your case. This can be frustrating for people. People sometimes will say, well, what's the deal? I mean, duh, I need law information. I don't know if what happened or didn't happen with my business or at my job or with a car accident or a slip and fall or my landlord, or I don't know. There are two things that result in the perception of it being a little bit more challenging to talk to a lawyer than we might hope. What are the two things? First thing, conflict of interest. Second thing, the scope of representation, whether it's tiny or it's big. So conflict of interest, the first thing, is this whole idea, and there are a lot of different rules that impact lawyers and make sure that they do what they're supposed to do, that they protect the public, and also these rules and laws and continuing education requirements are there to make sure that lawyers protect themselves as a profession, right? We want, ideally, lawyers to have a reputation for trust and for advice and counsel that is of the highest professional level. So a conflict is exactly what it sounds like when there's a conflict. The overarching idea behind lawyers, I'm speaking specifically to Texas, but in general, is that lawyers have a duty. They have many duties, but one of their main duties to their client, when somebody's their law client, is loyalty. So the lawyer knows they have to be loyal. Loyalty is of paramount importance, which it should be. If somebody is giving me information, advice, and counsel for me as an individual or for my business, then I need them to be loyal to me and tell me what's best for me, right? And so a conflicts check is simply where a lawyer is going to make sure that if they're going to talk to you, somebody from the public, that they don't put themselves in a situation where they couldn't give you loyalty because they would have a conflict. Maybe in the past, they had a relationship with a business that now you have a dispute with. So they know confidential information that would put them in a situation where they would have a conflict between serving you, which is what they have to do, and then this other party that they served in the past. So it could be a current conflict, that they've got a current client that would be in conflict with you, right? And we can think through how simple this would be, right? We would think, let's say there's a divorce. It could be even a not too stressful divorce. The lawyer's not going to be able to represent both parties, right? So the first party and the second party, the lawyer can't represent both of them because they're at total odds with each other in complete conflict. What's best for this person is not going to be what's best for this person, right? It makes sense. So the conflicts check is just, if you ever reach out, say to yourself, I just want to talk to a lawyer, just find out what the deal is. I don't know if this is a law. I don't know if it's a legal thing. I have no clue. What a law firm or law firm staff will do is start asking questions. Who did it? When did it happen? Where was it? And that's not just because they love to talk. They just want to get to know you. What they're doing is they're going down the list of the potential things that could be a conflict. And then after they get information from you, this is me pulling information from somebody who wants to talk to a lawyer. Hey, when did it happen? Where did it happen? Who was involved? The lawyer is going to go back through their own records and just do a conflicts check and make sure, is there any relationship that I've had in the past, or where I know confidential information that would prevent me from being completely loyal to this potential new client? That's all they're trying to do. So an easy thing to speed that up, if you want to talk to a lawyer, is just be ready to give them all the detail. Not all of the details, like you were born on so-and-so day, it was a snowy day. What I mean is the thing that you're you're thinking about, and maybe you don't even know if it's illegal, tell them the details about that thing, right? So your full name, legal name, other parties if you know their name, the business if it's involved, an address, the county where it happened. If there's any paperwork you've ever gotten about something that you think could be some kind of a lawsuit or papers from a court, you need to have those so that the lawyer in the law firm can kind of go through and say, oh, okay, here's what's going on, here's all the potential players, and here's a way for us to go through and make a conflicts check. This is me going through my conflicts check. Okay, making sure, nope, okay, none of these parties or anything that I have anything that could be an obstacle to my total loyalty. And that's really what it is. So conflicts check is the first thing that makes it sometimes seem like it's hard to talk to a lawyer, and it's just because the law firm has to make sure that it's not optional. They have to make sure that they're not going to do anything that would prevent them from being entirely loyal to you. Second thing is called scope of representation. So this is me representing scope, right? How big something is. Is it big? Is it little? Right? Big, is it little? The deal is that sometimes something happens or doesn't happen. I don't know if that's a big deal or a little deal. So let's take a medical example. Something happens, or to me, I go to an emergency room. I don't know if the thing is a big deal, that all I really need is a Band-Aid and 5 minutes of medical care, or if the thing that's going on medically is a sign of a huge medical emergency and I have to go get 11-hour emergency surgery. I don't know. That's because I'm not a medical professional. That's why I went to the emergency room, for somebody to help me. And lawyers are in the exact same position in terms of having to be a professional and figure out, do you need a little help? Or do you have something going on that's a big emergency and it could take 5 years? So a lot of what happens when someone in the public wants to talk to a lawyer and they contact a law firm and they say, okay, I want to talk to a lawyer. Sometimes there'll be other staff who aren't the lawyer that'll start talking to them first, and they're asking a whole bunch of questions. The part that I want to clear up in this educational overview is the reason why the law firm is asking all these questions is because lawyers know that once they enter into, this is me, my hands entering into, the beautiful relationship, right? Where there's a lawyer and a client and they agree that that lawyer will represent that client. Once that happens and there's a meeting of the minds, there's a contract, right? You hire a lawyer. The lawyer knows that once they get into that relationship with you, they're required, because of all these law rules, to be loyal and to do other things, and that they can't just leave you, right, for no reason, and then you don't have any lawyer at all to help you in the middle of something. They know that those are the rules. They can't just walk away and say, hey. There are sometimes situations where the lawyer is not able to help you, okay? But in general, the lawyer knows that once you get to a relationship, you, the client, have a lot more power to say, I'm leaving, right? You can fire your lawyer. You can say, I don't even care about this thing. I was kind of interested. Now it's gone on for so long. I don't even care. I'm not even going to do it. I don't want to keep it going. I just want to stop. I want to be done with this. It's bothersome. It's stressful. It's not interesting. I don't care. The client can do that. And there may be some consequences in terms of compensating the lawyer for the work they've already done, but you can't, the lawyer can't force the person to stay with them, right? On the other side of the relationship, though, once the lawyer gets into this, they have to do everything professionally required of them for as long as it takes to get a reasonable outcome for the client. And they understand that. So that's why they're really going to take their time and ask themselves, is this situation something that's a big thing with a long scope that's going to take a lot of time and resources and years and years and years? Or is it a little thing that'll just take 20 minutes? They don't know. They don't know. And so to prevent a lawyer from taking on something and getting into one of these binding relationships that they can't easily get out of, right? What they often will do is say, okay, I'll do a consultation. I'll talk to you. And it's totally free. Okay, that sounds great. The catch is, and it's not a catch in a negative way, but what the lawyer is saying to you, and often will say in these relationships, this consultation is free from cost. It's also free from relationship, right? That's why there's no cost. The lawyer says often, I'm talking to you as an attorney, but I'm not your attorney. I have not taken this on. We have not entered into this binding relationship. And that's so that the lawyer can use the free consultation experience to ask more questions. This is me pulling information from somebody in a consultation. Tell me more what happened. What time of day? Where were you? What happened? If it's an accident, okay? Was it a car? Was it a truck? Was it a bicycle? Was somebody on a skateboard? Was it a squirrel? What happened, right? I'm pulling information. The lawyer is doing all of that when you're free of a relationship and free of any fees because they haven't agreed to work with this client. And that's why they tell the client, I'm not giving you specific binding information because I'm not your lawyer. We haven't done this part. I'm just trying to find out, this is me getting information, what's going on. Okay, so solutions. The first thing that we talked about is you want to talk to a lawyer, go through and kind of get the basic information together. When did this happen? So if I ask when it happened and you say, oh, I don't remember. Was it last year? It could have been 5 years ago. Not really sure. Okay, it's okay. My memory is what it is. I don't remember everything. I'm just saying if you want help, the lawyer has to do a conflicts check. They can't do that effectively if you don't give them more information. So just take a few minutes. I mean, like 8 minutes at the most. I'm sort of generalizing. But just sit down and think through what are the things you would need to be able to tell somebody. What happened? Who, names, full names, right? Who, when, where, okay? These are some of the facts that will help the lawyer quickly go through conflicts check and then be able to move forward to the next stage to see if this might be something we can have a consultation. So conflicts and scope of representation. The second thing that I would suggest for you to think about, okay, to make it easy to talk to a lawyer is what are you trying to achieve? If you really want legal advice, right? Like often people will go to talk to a lawyer because something either happened or didn't happen. Again, with their job, their spouse, their landlord, and they got paperwork, right? And they're not really sure what it means. So if you want the lawyer to give you specific information, the lawyer can't do that unless you're in a relationship with them. So look where they're your lawyer and you're their client and they're loyal to you and they're on board, okay, for this big thing that you may have or little thing. So to address that in Texas, we have limited scope of representation. And this is a different model. The idea here is that instead of a lawyer saying, I'm going to sign up and get into a relationship with you, and I'm your lawyer all the way. If it takes 5, 10, 15 years to resolve this, I'm with you. We're going to do it. There's another alternative with limited scope in Texas representation where the lawyer says, I'm not agreeing to take on this whole thing. I'm agreeing to take on part of it. I'm going to limit the scope. What does that mean? So the lawyer will say, I will enter into a relationship with you for a certain specific thing. The thing could be time. The lawyer could say, hey, this is what I charge for 30 minutes of my time or an hour of my time. And for that time, I am your lawyer. When that time is up, I'm not your lawyer anymore. Our relationship is over because I finished what I was going to do. What I was going to do was give you legal binding information restricted to just that time frame. So it's helpful for things like you have paperwork that you're not really sure what it means, right? Maybe it's something, you have a small business and you're doing a contract with the client. You don't really know, you don't really care, but you don't want to have problems. You don't want to fights down the road. You want to get paid and make sure that you're protecting yourself and your small business, right? So you might say to the lawyer, I want to hire you, not for everything for my business for all time and eternity, but for my business, for this one specific contract that I have, I want you to look at it. I want you to give me your advice on what would fix it. And I'm going to pay you for that time to do that specific thing at looking at that contract for that client and then working with me, talking to me, sharing with me the laws about this. So I'm not taking on your whole business. I'm taking on this one limited scope. And it's exactly like that with other legal issues, right? So the lawyer in limited scope representation says, yeah, I'm a lot more able when I talk to you in a consultation or a diagnostic consultation that we have entered into a relationship for this limited scope, for this amount of time, and for this individual specific thing. I am working with you and I am your lawyer. It's going to end at the end of this limited scope, right? And so the question for our educational overview was, why is it so hard to talk to a lawyer? And I hope that you had an opportunity to think a little bit about the other side of this, meaning the lawyer really wants to help clients that they're able to help and who want their services. But the lawyer has to make sure conflicts check, right? So you're going to have to get them as much information as easily as you can. Here's when it happened, where, who, okay. And the second part is, if you are open, talk to different lawyers and law firms about limited scope. And that's where you'll pay them a little bit of money for a little bit of either time and or a little task. It's called unbundling. So in other words, instead of saying, hey, anything that could possibly go wrong in this business, I want you to be my business lawyer and handle all of this, you would just say, for this specific issue with my business, for this specific vendor, for this contract, all right? And then the lawyer would have a definitive thing that they would be able to give you in terms of time, fees, and resources. And that is another option for you to consider in addition to any other traditional or customized options that are out there. Lawyers do want to talk to you, and hopefully with some of this information, you'll be armed and ready with the knowledge for conflicts checks and to inquire and see if this is something that you can hire a lawyer for a little bit, just a little. And then often that will give you more choices. Thank you so much.